Julian Newman vs. Ramone Woods was one of the most exciting youth basketball matchups of all time. This was more than just any regular youth basketball matchup. It became a symbolic moment in a social media-driven basketball culture. In 2018, Julian Newman was a 16-year-old basketball prodigy on top of the world. He officially became the household name in youth basketball. His mixtapes have gone viral all over social media, and he was recognized and praised at every AAU tournament or showcase he played in. But that fame and cockiness put a major target on his back, and every kid his age was looking to expose and humble him. And that's where the story really begins. At the 2018 NEO Youth Elite Camp, Julian Newman met Ramone Woods, a relatively unknown prospect from Chicago. Ramone may have flown under the radar, but he came in with one specific goal: to put the Julian Newman hype train to rest. And in this video, we're gonna break down how Ramone Woods not only held his own with one of the most hyped up players in the country, but also how he embarrassed and humbled the most popular and arrogant basketball phenom of all time. Julian first burst onto the scene as a 5th grader playing varsity basketball at Downey Christian School in Florida. He had an extremely advanced handle, deep shooting range, and a high-energy style immediately made him a viral sensation. For years, Newman was marketed as the next future basketball prodigy and someone who could potentially break into the highest levels of basketball. On the other side of the spectrum was Ramone Woods, a completely unknown prospect who was driven by the desire to put his name on the map and prove himself on the biggest stage possible. This all came to a head during the 2018 Northeast Ohio Youth Elite Camp, an event known for showcasing top-tier young basketball talent. Woods was ready to get his chance at Newman, and what happened next would become a pivotal moment in both of their careers. The atmosphere in this gym was absolutely electric. Fans were gathered all around the court, either seated at the baseline or standing on the sidelines to watch. The funny part is that fans were eager to see Newman put on a show, but virtually no one expected what was about to unfold. From the opening tip, it was clear that Ramone Woods was not intimidated by the spotlight or the hype surrounding his opponent. Instead, he took advantage of the opportunity and showed the world that he would not back down to anyone. Newman's cockiness was seen in his game. He hit a few deep-range threes to start off the game, and his attitude and demeanor gave off that he was by far the best player on the floor. But everything changed once Ramone Woods made it his priority to guard Newman for the rest of the game. Every time Newman got the ball, Woods was absolutely dialed in and was laser focused on his every move. Whether Newman had the ball in his hands or was playing off ball, Ramone stuck to Julian like glue on defense. Woods was face guarding Newman and continuously forced him into uncomfortable positions at all times. Woods didn't bite on the flashy crossovers or the behind-the-back moves. Instead, he just played his game on the defensive end, continuing to make Newman work for every bucket. Every time Newman got the ball, Woods sat in a defensive triple threat stance and moved very quickly laterally to stay with Newman when he would try to make a move. Ramone's defensive intensity was something Newman was clearly not used to, and it was very obvious that Newman became flustered by it. It was a true battle of disciplined defensive basketball versus cocky and flashy offense. Woods didn't shine as strong on the offensive side of the ball as he did defensively, but he made sure to expose Newman on that side as well. Woods was clearly the most physically gifted and most athletic player on the court, and he used that speed and strength to do whatever he wanted in his offensive game. Woods was fearless and confident and was completely unfazed by a crowd that initially was not there for him, but to see Newman attempt to belittle anyone who tried to stop him. But even with everything against him, Woods continued to make his mark and play his game. He continuously made the right play. He would drive to the paint, knock down jump shots, and play great defense. He was only focused on the game, not the crowd that was there to see Newman embarrass him. The first monumental moment in the game was when Woods defended Newman off a switch, and although Woods committed a foul, this moment was when he locked in on guarding Newman the rest of the game, and on the very next possession before Newman was about to receive the ball out of bounds, Newman shoved Woods out of frustration because he couldn't get open. Woods proceeded to face guard Julian continuously throughout the game, and you can see the frustration on Newman's face. Even when Julian had the ball in his hands and tried to make a move, Woods was right there with him. The most iconic moment of the game came when Woods squared up Newman one-on-one. Woods even called for an ISO on this play. The entire gym knew this was the moment of truth, the fearless underdog versus the prodigy. Woods sized up Newman and then hit him with the hezzy move and drove to the basket. Woods, who already had a step on Newman, hit a quick change of speed and hit Newman with a nasty between-the-legs move that put Newman on skates. He then proceeded to body Newman and finish an and-one layup over him, which sent the crowd into an absolute frenzy. After this shot, the entire crowd stormed the court, and you couldn't even see Woods after the play, as hundreds of fans stormed the court to celebrate around Woods after he made the basket. This reaction from the crowd gave a clear message: substance beats style. But even after the play before, it seemed that Woods could do whatever he wanted to Newman. A few possessions later, Ramone came down the court, sized Newman up, and then hit him with a between-the-legs hezzy and blew right by him for the easy layup. He wasn't looking to go viral, he was looking to humble Newman, and while he may have been doing some talking, he had every right to because his play was backing up his talk. Unlike Jathan Bosch, who stayed quiet, Ramone made an emphasis to put Newman in his place, and it was something that Newman never faced before. Woods was going right at him, dominating him and letting him hear about it, and Newman was not ready for it. Once the game ended, it was evident to everyone that this was more than just a win for Woods. It was a shift in perception on Julian Newman. For years, Julian Newman's game had been predicated on the belief that his mixtape highlights equated to basketball dominance. But what Woods demonstrated was that no amount of spam dribbling in place, deep three-pointers, or throwing the ball off an opponent's head could make up for disciplined, team-oriented play. The matchup soon went viral all over social media. The matchup garnered millions of views combined across YouTube, and it sent shockwaves through the basketball world. Comment sections were flooded with praise for Woods' fearlessness to not back down to Newman. Fans who had once praised Newman began questioning whether his downfall was just about approaching, with kids his age catching up to his speed and skill set. Memes and debates circulated across platforms, with many pointing out that Woods had exposed the flaws in Newman's game, especially his struggles against disciplined defenders who were physical on the perimeter and fast enough to stay in front of him. Woods soon after this game found himself thrusted into the spotlight. He became a major factor in the Newman downfall after Julian was exposed by Jathan Bosch in the same event last year. If you want to watch Jathan Bosch embarrass and humble Julian Newman, that video will be linked at the end of this one. Ramone Woods' confidence and fearlessness to not back down to the hype of Julian Newman only added to his appeal. Woods wasn't interested in the Newman hype. His sole goal was to take him down, and it was evident in his play. Woods was tenacious with his on and off ball defense on Newman, and offensively he got to the rim with ease against Newman because he was simply just faster and stronger than him. The reason why the matchup went so viral was because of Ramone's fearlessness. It didn't matter who was in front of him. He didn't care that Newman was the biggest youth basketball prodigy of the time. Ramone had the fearlessness and confidence to take down Julian with everything he had. And the appeal for the matchup being as big as it was seeing the cocky Newman get humbled by someone like Bosch, who seemed excited and ready for the matchup. Woods' game is rooted in fearlessness and tenacity. On defense, he was locked in on Newman from the jump. He would face guard him and give him virtually no room to breathe. He did everything in his power to bother Newman and make him uncomfortable with the ball in his hands. He wasn't fazed by the flashy plays. He remained aggressive but poised. He'd watch Newman's hips and wait for the right moment to contest or deflect the ball if possible. He had a clear physical size advantage over Newman and was very quick laterally, so it was tough for Newman to blow by him. Offensively, Woods wasn't looking for the highlight reel. He was focused on efficiency. Whether it's a pull-up jumper or a drive to the basket, Woods makes calculated decisions, always prioritizing the best shot for himself. On the other hand, Julian Newman's game is built on flash and entertainment. His dribbling skills are undeniably impressive, and he's capable of hitting deep shots that few others would even attempt. But the problem with relying on highlight plays is that it doesn't always translate to winning basketball. Against smart and aggressive defenders like Woods, those flashy moves can often backfire, leading to turnovers or low percentage shots. When Newman faced adversity, he didn't know how to get his teammates involved and play team basketball. He simply got humbled by a faster and stronger guard. Also, Newman's tendency to play for the crowd instead of for his team became glaringly apparent during this game, especially when he would get in Woods' face after just about every possession. This difference in playing styles is what ultimately led to Woods' success. While Newman was trying to break down Woods with his dribble moves, Woods was focused on shutting him down as a unit. The result was a performance that left the audience questioning whether Newman's downfall was approaching. The game between Ramone Woods and Julian Newman wasn't just a basketball event, it was a cultural moment. It signaled a shift in how fans and players alike viewed the influence of social media on basketball. For years, highlight reels had taken over the sport, pushing players to focus more on going viral than mastering the game itself. But Ramone's performance against Newman served as a reminder that real basketball is still about fundamentals, teamwork, and mental toughness. For Julian Newman, this game marked a major humbling point in his career. The questions surrounding his ability to translate his skills to higher levels of basketball grew even stronger. This was now the second straight year at this tournament where Newman was not just contained, but was humbled. The hype began to dwindle as fans realized that the viral clips were just highlights, not a reflection of elite performance. For Ramone Woods, this was the start of a journey that would see him gain respect and recognition across the basketball community. He went from being a completely unknown prospect to a fearless competitor who wasn't just praised for his physical tools, but was recognized for his ability to stay poised and not back down to the Julian Newman narrative. Woods proved being a tenacious and relentless defender is extremely valuable to any basketball team. And that aspect of the game doesn't always get recognized by the social media narratives. In the years since this matchup, the careers of both players have taken different paths. Julian Newman continued to play, but the hype that once surrounded him completely faded. He's faced criticism for not adapting his game to fit team dynamics and for not evolving beyond his flashy style. While he still maintains a strong social media presence, the door is closed for his future in competitive basketball. Ramone Woods, on the other hand, ascended since his performance against Newman. He became recognized by multiple college programs and a few D1 programs such as UNLV, DePaul, and the University of Illinois, and he had a solid high school career playing at Aspire Academy in Louisville, Kentucky. He would eventually play at a few different post-grad prep schools, and it's unknown if he's still in basketball currently. At the end of the day, Woods may not have had the same social media following as Newman, but he gained something far more valuable that day: the respect of true basketball enthusiasts who recognize playing basketball the right way, and not for clicks. In a moment where Newman thought he would dominate the game and win over the crowd, Woods was the one who really humbled, exposed, and made a fool out of Newman. The Woods vs. Newman matchup was a story about how a fearless competitor who was grounded on playing aggressive and tenacious defense took down a cocky showman like Newman. This matchup reminded us how a tenacious but high IQ defender always has a role in high-level basketball. As basketball continues to evolve, this game serves as a timeless lesson that no matter how many views or followers you have, the game will always be won by those who are truly dedicated to mastering it. So what do you think? Was this matchup the beginning to the fall-off of Julian Newman? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into basketball's most memorable moments.